Hello, everyone. Welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame. My name is Robert Voisey. I am the director of 15 Minutes of Fame. And what we do is we find 15 composers to write 1-minute works for a specific musician to perform. We put out a call for works for Craig Hultgren, and we received many submissions. I think over 80 submissions for this project. Craig went and selected 15 pieces, and we're going to present them for you here today. We have a few of the composers here and some of their recorded introductions as well. But let me, without further ado, let me bring on Craig Hultgren. He is a fabulous contemporary cellist who is a true champion of new music, playing living composers for around the world for many years. Craig, welcome.
Thank you, Rob. It's good to be back here with 15 Minutes of Fame. I did one of these sessions back in 2013, and it was quite a rip-snorting event. Of course, that was a live concert down at in downtown Manhattan. But this is, we did a virtual version of that performance. I think 2 years ago or 3. Maybe it is now, and then now we're doing one on a version of 2021, and this was based on a theme of pataphysics, which is a strange, hilarious movement. Started in France around the turn of the 20th century. Most notably, Alfred Jarry and his Per Uberoy was a leader in that, and basically, pataphysics is about solutions to problems that don't exist. Rather a hilarious thing, and indeed, you can look at the humor of Groucho Marx and the Marx Brothers as being rather pataphysical. We see it also in this 1960s television show Green Acres, which appeals to me because I'm a cellist out here in the farm in Iowa, and I apologize for any difficulty in the fidelity of my transmission. I am out here in the middle of the fields, and anyway, Green Acres provides a lot of solutions to problems that farmers really don't actually have, and of course, not every piece that I selected was pataphysical in reference or nature, but a lot of them were, and a lot of as one person said to me on the email, just the aspect of writing a composition that lasts 1 minute is rather pataphysical in its own right.
I think I can agree with that. So we started out our call for this project back in kind of the heart of the pandemic. What brought sort of this notion of answers to problems that aren't there? Did the environment sort of help that, or was it just like 15 Minutes of Fame and being in Iowa? And
no, actually, I've been on a rather pataphysical bent these days. It started with my work with Craig Veer, a composer in the UK, and he has this piece called Black Cats and Blues, which is based on the writings of another very famous French writer, Boris Vian. And it is really a hilarious set of short stories that Craig Veer used to set his piece, and it's a major technological undertaking with Max and video and sound processing and all artificial intelligence, the whole 9 works, and it is quite the piece. And so I've been immersed in that, and this seemed to be a great venue for doing a theme based on that. Now, I try to do themes as you many times suggest as well for these calls for 15 minutes.
Excellent. Well, let's get a little taste of what we got here. Our first piece will be with Peri Maurer, and then we'll play Michael Coleman and Justin Ryder, and then we'll take a quick break and speak with Jim Dalton. Here we go with Peri Maurer.
Hi, I'm Mike Coleman. The piece I was writing for cello for Craig Hultgren for the 15 Minutes of Fame project, I had a fairly clear vision, so I'm going to go with vision, that I finished this at 2:02 a.m. When I was working on it, I dozed off at the computer and had a somewhat clear dream that I finished at 2:21. That's the reason for the title of the work. I hope you enjoy the concert.
Hi, my name's Justin Ryder, and I'm a composer from the Rio Grande Valley. I'm very happy to be on this 15 Minutes of Fame, and my piece is called Particles. And as you can see, each one of these little segments, I'm calling a particle. The cellist can work his way through this any way he wishes, can mix and match. Each segment or particle is to be pretty diverse from the others so that no matter how it's done, it'll be different each time we hear it. And I'm looking forward to this 15 Minutes of Fame.
Awesome. So yeah, that's a little taste of the 1 minute pieces that you will be hearing. Our next piece is going to be by Jim Dalton. Jim Dalton is an American composer. He's a professor of music theory at Boston Conservatory at Berkeley. His works are performed frequently throughout the U.S., Canada, and Europe, including Musique Nouvelles, Luna France, Kansas Symposium at New Music Sound, Scotland's Festival of Music, and Académie de Tonkunst in Darmstadt, Germany. And let's bring in Jim. Hi, Jim.
Hello.
How's it going?
Robert? Quite well. I'm enjoying the concert so far, certainly.
Thank you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your piece that we're going to hear?
Yeah. Well, there is a tradition in earlier European classical music of having a prelude to establish the key. Sometimes those were improvised, sometimes those were composed. A similar tradition is in India, where there's something called an alap, which is basically the performers gradually introduce the raga that the performance is based on. And what I'm doing here, and evidently the pataphysical aspect of it, is that I have a similar kind of prelude, but to something that isn't there, So this is an introductory section to introduce the tonal material of a piece that doesn't actually exist. And what I've done is I've used the harmonic series of a pitch that is an octave below the lowest string of the cello. And to organize my material, I basically had the number of the harmonic indicate the number of iterations that pitch would receive. So in other words, the 5th harmonic is heard 5 times, and the 11th harmonic is heard 11 times. And then it was my task to organize those into something coherent. Now the harmonics, just one more word, the harmonics are not really, they don't really coincide with the with equal temperament. So the 11th harmonic, for example, is almost exactly a quarter tone lower than an F sharp. And the 7th harmonic is about a third of a tone lower than that pitch would be, then the B flat would be in equal temperament. So you're going to hear a little bit of just intonation microtonality here. I can't hear you, Robert.
Sounds fantastic. Let's hear your piece, Congruence.
Great, thank you.
That was Shh by Douglas Ovens. He'll be joining us on a roundtable panel later on. I want to remind all the audiences that are watching, please stay to the end if you want to ask questions to the composers or to Craig Hultgren. We would be happy to answer your questions. Our next composer is Sebastian Zaczek. He is a 19-year-old composer and computer science student from Germany who is particularly interested in the subjective perception of music. Gradually evolving processes and a focus on subtle playing with timbre often play an essential role of his compositions. Sebastian is also, let's say, our winner for this round of 15 Minutes of Fame. If you want to talk about that, we did a call for 4 different artists for the season, and Sebastian has been in several of them. Let me bring him on. Hey, Sebastian, how you doing? Winner is probably not the right term, but you've been selected for a bunch of these 15 Minutes of Fame.
This year I've submitted 3 of them and been selected for 3 of them. I can't complain.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your piece?
Yeah, sure, happy to do so. So this piece, Zeit vergeht, wir vergehen, the English translation sounds way too dramatic, I think. Time passes, we pass. Sounds, again, much more dramatic than it should. What I thought of in this particular piece was when I was writing this piece, when I was thinking about the constraint of it just being 1 minute, I was always thinking, how am I going to write a piece that within 1 minute begins, makes a statement, does something with it, and then ends. And so this is something that I sort of saw as a problem, and the idea of pataphysics being a science to solve problems that don't really exist made me think, okay, why not go the complete other direction? Instead of trying to squeeze in as much material as I can to this 1 minute, why not write a piece in which the material is generally very, very slow and almost static, which is something you usually just know from like long pieces, Feldman, Steve Reich, and yeah, this is also something that, as I said, my interest in sort of perception of music. I feel like by saying this, I kind of spoil what I kind of intend with this piece, but when you're aware of the fact that this piece is only lasting about a minute, and you hear that first pitch that's probably around like 8 seconds, you start to think, where are we going with this? Are we going to really finish in time, if that makes sense? So, yeah, if you look at this piece just being like 1 minute long, and then the material generally being so slow that you're thinking, what's going to happen?
Absolutely. I think, I've done many 1 minute projects, and it's interesting how the perception of time, even if it's at equal measurements, feels shorter or longer, no matter what
Mm.
those equal measurements are.
It depends on what you're doing or what you're subjected to.
Exactly. Well, let's hear your piece. Beautiful piece from Ms. Nakamura. Our next composer that we'll be playing is by Ken Paoli. He's a composer I also know for many, many, many years. Ken is a professor of music at the College of DuPage, studied composition with Phil Windsor, and is involved in archiving and researching of Windsor's works. His paper on Windsor's Poetics of Music and his own audiovisual work, Spazio Scanizio, which I'm sure I said wrong, will be presented at the 2020-21 International Computer Music Conference. And with that, maybe Ken can talk more. Where is Ken?
There
Hi, Ken. How you doing?
Good. Hey, I too, I'm not as young as Sebastian, but I too have gotten 3 of these last ones.
You have. It's true. You're high scorers, both of you.
Right. Except I'm at the
Not
other
that-
end of the spectrum. I'm at the 70-year-old spectrum here.
See, it's all about balance.
Yeah.
Ken, why don't you tell us a little bit about your piece and your experience with 15 Minutes of Fame?
Well, I've done many 1-minute pieces, either 60 by 60 or 15 minutes. This particular call was vexing because, first of all, I had to look up what pataphysics was.
You're not
and
the
then
only one.
And then in researching it, I found a book called The Irregular Reader, or The Ear Reader of Pataphysics. And of course, for me, the difficulty was taking something that works very well with visual and with spoken word and trying to get the same notion in sound. So as I was reading this Ear Reader, in the preface was an article about the papyrus of Aine, which is hieroglyphics. And I laughed and chuckled because the hieroglyphics looked like the kind of alternate notation that was heavily used in the late 60s and 70s. So this piece is really a page of the Book of the Dead. And I have written instructions interpreting the hieroglyphic symbols, alluding to the fact that maybe there's a connection between Egyptian music, of course, which we have no record of whatsoever. I will say this, when I was on the island of Philae in Egypt, there was a small temple for Horus, and on the temple were carvings of people playing what looked like trombones. And there were also pictures of orangutans playing something that looked like a guitar.
Wow.
So I tell my students that even the Egyptians knew that a monkey could play a guitar. But I digress.
With that said, let's hear Ken's piece, Papyrus of Aine.
when the soul wanders, weary and astray. To pierce the veil. Find the body before it decays. Greetings! We at Fitzipata Science Corporation are dedicated to providing solutions to problems you do not know you have. For example, for all of the cello players whose strings will not sound when bowed or plucked, we offer many solutions. For players who have not yet learned to play while upside down in the planet Venus's atmosphere, we provide a range of highly detailed pancake recipes. So, stop by the offices of Fitzipata Science Corporation yesterday to obtain our phone number. You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. I wrote the piece you're about to hear. When I heard the theme of this concert was going to be solutions to problems that don't exist, I immediately thought infomercials. So I set to work diligently watching many infomercials, looking for the most absurd texts to put into this piece. I have recently been really interested in incorporating mundane texts into new music, so this project felt right up my alley. So yeah, I really enjoyed writing this. I hope you enjoy listening.
Oh no! Somebody ate all the edges again. Tired of serving the same donuts they've had before? A fool when your cakes aren't cool? Taco shells split, crumble, and crack. Love burritos, but hate the mess. Forget about it. Stop pancake bombs forever. No forks, no plates, no hassles.
Greetings from sunny and chilly Providence, Rhode Island. My name is Kari Juusela, and I am the composer of Pataphysics. I've long been an admirer of Craig Hultgren and his wonderful cello playing, so I was excited about this opportunity to write a composition for him. The title of my composition, Pataphor, is from the field of pataphysics that was created by Alfred Jarry. A pataphor attempts to create a figure of speech that exists as far from metaphor as metaphor exists from non-figurative language. An example is, Tom took a step closer to Alice and made a date for Friday night, checkmating. Rudy was furious at losing to Margaret so easily and dumped the board on the rose-colored quilt, stomping downstairs. In my musical pataphor, I've tuned the cello strings to B, G, C sharp, and A, and have explored both natural harmonics and stop tones as they collide with a variety of bowings. I hope you enjoy my musical pataphor.
Greetings from the road. It's Thanksgiving Day. I'm somewhere, I believe, in Connecticut. Take a look out there. Thank you, Craig Hultgren, for performing my piece. It's really an honor to have such a great cellist playing my music. Thank you, Rob Voisey, for keeping this awesome project, 15 Minutes of Fame, alive and well. And I'm really honored to be a part of it. I composed this piece on the theme of pataphysics. I had to look that up, and so I came up with this little etymological joke that I call decatanishamentology, or is it pronounced that way? Have fun. Enjoy the show.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Good to see all of you. Craig, great performances, Craig. I loved it.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Craig.
Good to see you all. Some of you I'm meeting for the first time. Some I know so well. Congratulations, you all. I love the miniatures, and your pieces came through in fine fashion in the selection process. So there's a little congratulations in order here, and I look forward to. Of those of you who I don't know, I look forward to meeting you in person someday.
Yeah, it's the interesting. Anyway, Craig knows we've done 15 Minutes of Fame on the Composer's Voice concert series for years in New York City, and when the pandemic happened, and I just sort of wanted to reach out to all the musicians that weren't playing. I came up with this idea to do this stuff online. And Craig, thank you. It's been a great adventure doing this with you again.
Yeah, y'all. I apologize for the fidelity of my feed, and ideally I would like to do this in a nice hall, but I'm an independent artist, and I can't really do much out here except if I'm going to turn my phone around right now. And
fabulous.
Unfortunately, for these 15-minute of fame broadcasts, I've really been stymied out here because satellite internet is so poor. But that's why all of you who live in urban areas have it so well. We have we are sacrificing here. Right now, I'm waiting for Elon Musk's space link to provide us internet out here in the boonies. Not but 3 miles down the road here in the valley, we wouldn't be able to do this because they are totally off the grid and no connection.
Well, I think that's what we should do, Craig, is get Elon Musk or some benevolent benefactor to give us some money to put a studio somewhere near you. And with my son's exuberance too, right?
Right. I've already invested in him, so hopefully he'll come through.
Very good.
So wait, everybody raise their hand who's worked with Craig before.
Yep. Just me? A couple of us. Yep.
I didn't get picked last time, but I sent one in.
Well, that happens too, right? Not everybody gets picked. I want one of the reasons why I did 60 by 60 and 15 Minutes of Fame was to try to incorporate literally as many composers as we can, because being a composer myself, I hate not being picked, but we do what we can.
Builds character.
Right.
In the 60 by 60, though, I think I've told you before, you've done more for electronic music than any one person in the last half of the 20th century. I mean, those pieces get played all over the world. You have Asian mixes, European mixes, North and South America mixes. They're fabulous. And of course, that's how we first got acquainted.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. Hopefully 15 Minutes of Fame will have its, I think, this format on the internet is going to get around. We'll see. The other unique thing about this particular show that I wanted to do for us, a kind of last minute, thank you all for being a part of it and so forth, is I'm hoping to cut and edit and splice this. I'm doing some cable access show, so hopefully I'll be able to use some of that in there too. So what do you wait, first let me just say to the audiences, anybody out there that has a question for any of the composers here or Craig, please feel free to chat it in the YouTube chat comment section or whatever, and we should see it. I'll be happy to ask them. Meanwhile, does anybody have any questions for me or Craig? Comments?
Well, I had just one thing I wanted to share. I liked so much the topic. I actually wrote music for a production of Ubu Raw about 3 years ago, so it's kind of going through a sweet spot. But I was thinking about the fact that we spent the last year and a half, constantly solving problems that actually do exist. That this was a lovely break, thinking about solving a problem that doesn't exist, because there's abundance of them that do. So,
Right.
Thank you for that, Craig. It's a lovely break.
I also enjoyed that. So what do you? So we were talking a little bit about the passage of time for 1 minute. Actually, Ken, you were talking about 60 by 60. That's where I really first saw that. So 60 by 60 is 60 1-minute works back to back. So this project is an acoustic version of that. I guess when I started the project, I didn't realize sort of the how we perceive time, and like how it goes slowly or quickly, or how do you guys think about these pieces as they went by? Anybody?
Well, it's harder to do the acoustic ones because they actually have to be a minute. With the electronic ones, if I'm longer than a minute, I just time stretch. Hey, move. But Craig did a very honest interpretation of my piece, because there are theatrics in there. But at the same time, I said at the beginning in the program directions, do as much as you can in 1 minute. As opposed to trying to squeeze it all in.
And how about you, Craig? I mean, how do you feel about that 1 minute constraint? So it's an acoustic work, so there's obviously a little flexibility happening.
Well, in all honesty, not all works were simply 1 minute in length. There was a few that went on for maybe a minute and 30 seconds or so. But I love the miniature. As a player, it allows me to conquer all elements pretty well. And there were some hard pieces here today, especially some of the microtonal work. Jasmine, your piece was rather challenging, but I think I got good in a decent tempo. And each work, I love it. Each work has its own challenge and difficulty, but since it's concise, my preparation therefore can be concise and well placed.
And Craig, do you have a question for any of the composers?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Or comments first. To Ken, I left out the long phrase in the middle, and like you and Sebastian's and Justin's piece, I used a stopwatch, so I was probably real literal there, and so you got really sort of what the clock stamped out. And it's interesting perceptions of time you talk about. Each of these has such radical challenges that my lived experiences are unfathomable within each minute. So congratulations. Let's see. Doug Ovens, he was on the 2013 15 Minutes of Fame that I did, and he's the only composer here who is repeating from that. And I apologize to people out there who have submitted, and I greatly appreciate your time. The actual logistics of receiving 80 works, and while I would perform all 80 works, there's just not enough time in the program, and so I chose the 15 that I thought would be the best, and really good. Mike Coleman is on this feed, and actually Mike Coleman has been here in my studio. He's a long-time collaborator of mine and a member of the Birmingham Art Music Alliance. His wife, Kadisha Olnabueva, is a Steinway pianist piano artist teaching at the University of Mobile. And Mike, congratulations. Thank you for submitting a 209 Central.
Thanks, Craig.
Let's
And
see,
I want to thank you and Rob, so much. Hey, by the way, Craig, today is our 13th anniversary. So, special day. Your performance, Rob, you producing this, hearing all this great music I've heard today, and now we're going to go out and eat somewhere.
Sounds awesome.
I'm thinking Indian food, so it should be a great day. Great hanging out with all of you.
Great hanging out with you too, Mike. And I guess let me before you sort of wrap up, does anybody else have a comment or things that they want to say?
I have
Thanks.
one for Jasmine. Jasmine, are you a cellist?
No.
Who was that giving the playing demonstration on what you submitted? Evidently a good friend.
It was me.
What's it?
I used a lot of splicing, cutting and splicing. But I do when I write for a new instrument, I like to get my hands on the instrument and like develop techniques by like just like touching the instrument, and like what feels kind of like gestures that make sense for my body, and then try to translate them into notation and then for another person.
Wow. Well, you're doing it as it should be done. We got to watch out when you write your piccolo piece, though. Yeah. Jim Dalton,
And Doug,
good to meet you. I enjoyed your,
Doug Evans,
I enjoyed the. I did enjoy the congruence and all of your dust tone kind of working, and I'm familiar with that style. So, congratulations. I hope I was close enough to all the sense.
You were. Yeah, that's something that I've been tending towards much more frequently, and that's why I love bowed string instruments, because you guys can do that kind of thing. When we asked for it, you did a great job of it. Really, thank you so much for your performance.
Well, very good. I had to retune my cello, so I use a different a second instrument for all the works on this program that were on alternative tunings, and there were several. Sebastian's piece was also a scordatura piece, and that messes up the tuning on my old 200-year-old Italian cello, which is my primary instrument. So then I use a contemporary one for all of the works that have the scordatura.
And Doug Evans, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to say thank you to both you and to Craig for keeping this going, because as I said earlier, just this whole world that we're trying to keep productive, keep making art, and keep moving forward. Things like this are a tremendous boon. So thanks so much. I loved hearing the other pieces. Loved hearing my piece. Thanks for keeping this going.
Oh, thank you. Well, I wouldn't be able to do any of this without you guys, and Craig especially. Craig, thank you so much. This was a fabulous thing. I'm so glad we did this. Meanwhile, this is also, let's say, another thing about internet performances is being a dad and multitasking at the same time. Jonah, can you wave hello to everybody? Is that so? There we go. Yeah, thank you all, and just to also comment on, this show takes a lot of stuff, and we've. I want to thank Virtual Concert Halls for also doing this. Let me. They're a great team behind doing all the technicalities. Hold on. And that's up there. There we go. All right, everybody. Thank you again, and I look
Thank you.
forward to working with you on another project very soon.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.